Well, the possibility of living a longer and healthier life is more attractive than ever. And for guidance, we can look to the daily practice of people who live the longest.
So could the place where they live play a factor? Well, there are some areas in the world where people live extraordinarily long lives. Those areas are actually called blue zones.
Yeah, we spoke with Dr. Jed about what those areas have in common. Take a look.
Jed, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, good to see y'all again.
Good to see you too. Blue zones, what we're talking about right here. This is a loaded question, but why people in blue zones live longer than the rest of the world?
Yeah, sure, Cliff. Well, first off, most people know, but blue zones are essentially portions of the world where there's an abnormally high percentage of people that live to be around 100 years old or over 100 years old. And honestly, you can't break it down into one factor, and that's what most Americans kind of hate, right? Everyone wants to know, like, what's this little rainforest pill we can take and just do the rest of the stuff we do, but it's not. All the blue zone stuff have lifestyle commonalities, but they don't have the same magic micronutrient or any of that. It's just lifestyle commonalities.
So what are they?
Sure. So there's a couple different things they're doing. You can separate them out very specific. It's common that people break them into about 9 categories, but I'm an ER doc. I like to keep things more clumped, more simple. So basically the 3 big ones are, 1, how they're living. So people in blue zones tend to be very active, not necessarily gym rats, but very active. They live in hilly environments. They garden a lot. A lot of the work they do is manual labor, even if that just means chopping firewood to heat their homes. So you got that kind of active lifestyle coming in. Number 2 is nutritionally. They tend to eat very plant-forward, generally very unprocessed foods. They kind of live life slower, so they live life longer in a sense. You know, they're not using microwaves and stuff. They're doing those big meals, picking food from their garden. And then number 3, and super important and so easy to overlook, is they have such a relational component. So the people in blue zones, very family-oriented, keeps them connected with their communities, seeing people in real human interaction, not clicking online in chats and getting mad at people, you know. So they kind of have those themes of movement, good, normal, recognizable food, and strong community structure. Those are the things that all the blue zones have in common.
I think he just described my country.
So why did
Having been, it seemed healthier than we were.
why did you move
back.
here?
Exactly. Okay, bye, people. I'm moving back to Brazil.
Well, you just brought up a number of good advantages for a blue zone hill. So we don't necessarily live in a blue zone, but can we have the same benefits?
So we can, it just takes a little more effort. So the people in blue zones tend to live that way because it's their literal way of life, right? We're kind of outsiders and have studied it. And especially in Western culture, you know, we have such a propensity to just try and fit one more thing into our schedule. That is like the least blue zone thing you can do. You know, blue zoners are not commuting. They're not checking their email while they're driving, trying to do, you know, they live pretty simple lives. It's kind of simple, happy, relational. And we can absolutely do that. We just need to be conscious about it. And it's not an all or nothing either. You know, it's kind of, you can go towards that continuum. Give yourself strict work boundaries. You know, when you get home, say 6 p.m., you absolutely don't check work emails anyway. Right. And you know what? Your boss gets used to it. They get over it. I told them, I won't get an Apple Watch because I don't want it coming in.
We can neither deny nor confirm said thing, but we hope.
So yeah, it's those little boundaries. You know, it's the choices in food. We've covered this quite a bit, but again, eating very plant forward, natural for the most part, under-processed, things like that, your food choices, and then we can absolutely decide to be active. For us, you know, we like to pack it in a little quicker going to the gym, and that's great. There's good data on that. Or if you just decide to live in some manner that's very active, you know, a lot of your commuting is walking. You get your exercise in by working in a garden, things like that. So we can work it in, and again, it's not all or nothing. Do what you can. That's going to improve your health.
Park at the end of the parking lot if you're going to the store. That little extra walk.
Yeah,
Except this week where you might not make it because blue zoners don't die of heat exhaustion on the way.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, we've been talking about longevity for a while now, and this is obviously one of the topics. So I think the main takeaway, and correct if I'm wrong, they want to give it to the audience is, okay, there's so many alternatives and options here. You can have all these drugs and things to make you live longer, but are you necessarily living happier? right?
Yeah.
So by living by this lifestyle, or what the people in the blue zones do, they might be living longer and happier at the same time and healthier, right?
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct, Nat. You touched on it. One thing we did not mention for any theme of the blue zones is advanced medical care, right? None of these little pockets of the world where people are living so long are anywhere near the most advanced in their life-saving surgeries and blah, 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 because they're living in a manner where you don't need that, essentially. You know, they're kind of aging gracefully, dying naturally by doing those other things right. Decreased stress, better food, regular movement, and again, that relational component is so, so important. You know, they laugh a lot and they're with people.
Yep.
All right, good things to know here. Turn your home into a blue zone.
You can. Take some work. Take some
Dr.
work.
Jed Ballard, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Great to see you all again.